What's going on out there, family? Once again, this is your girl Keziah She basically coming to you with a part two of my story. This part two is basically about the things that I had purposely left out on the first part. Basically, little deep things that I was being skeptical of talking about. So I mean, it's not that bad or whatever, but these are the things that I've been through that kind of like, what I'm saying, was eerie mentally, and just things that just makes me paranoid about having to go through again. You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to trip about our past, but we it's hard to sometimes erase the things that we've been put through, things that we choose to go through, whatever. Sometimes it's bothering, but it could be overcoming if you just choose to just forget about it. Which is hard to do. So basically, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back basically to when I was like 11. Well, nah, not even that. I think like maybe when I was like 12 or 13. Okay, we was in the projects. I'm from Chicago, Illinois originally. I'm from the Chi, and grew up in the projects known as Adobe Well Homes, the low end. These projects is no longer there. They tore them down in the early 2000s. But we was in the projects, Adobe Wells, and things was going well until, like I said, my mom was making stupid decisions when she was, younger or whatever. It's six of us, and I'm the oldest out of six kids from my mom's. So basically, jumping to, just main events, right? I was listening to my radio one time, and my little sister came in. She like I think like the fourth one. She's the fourth child. She came in and was like, "Hey, Kizzy, mom and La fighting." Talking about our upstairs neighbor. And my mom was in the hallway fighting. I'm like, what? I'm in the room listening to my rap music and stuff like that. I think I was about like 12. And I'm like, huh? So anyway, we go out and everything. I'm running out there. My siblings, they depending on me to, to work things out, right? So I'm kind of like shocked and numb about my mom's fighting. So they fighting or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she getting the best of my mom. She bring her inside the house and rough her up on the floor and everything. My mom's telling me, get the vase. Had a vase on top of a speaker, and I was nervous, like, get it, because, if they get a buzz on her head. And I was like, nah. I just started pushing the lady off my mom. So she was like, don't push me or whatever. So I'm like, whoa, I was just nervous. I ain't never been through that. I'm, 12 years old. So anyway, she finally got up on my mom's and then left, walked off, whatever, went back out in the hallway and went up to her stairs. She was proceeding to go upstairs. So my mom's got off the floor and was like, ugh, and then just started walking to the bedroom. Now, usually, a person will go to the kitchen, and you already know what it is, right? They go into the kitchen to get a knife or whatever, right? But she went to the bedroom, and I'm like, whoa, why she going to the bedroom? And I'm like, don't tell me we got a gun, Joe. So anyway, my mom's going to the bedroom. Man, sure enough, she pulled the dresser back and came out with a 38. You know what I'm saying? And I was shocked, man. You know what I'm saying? A little 6-round, snub nose 38. And she came back out, and I was like, what the heck? So when she came back out the house, she went upstairs, but the neighbor went, because the neighbor stayed upstairs on the third floor. We was on the second. So my sister's like, oh, mama got a gun. So as she was walking out, I walked right behind my mom. I was like, I'm finna go see this. You know what I'm saying? She jumped on my mom. I want to see if, if she gonna shoot her. So yeah, when she went up there, my mom started busting at her, let off 6 rounds. Wah, 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 wah. And I'm looking at it, but my mom was holding the gun, and it was so heavy, she had it with both hands, and she was going back like that 6 times, let off 6 rounds out, and all 6 rounds was in the ceiling. And I'm standing there just looking at it, which was crazy because the bullets could have ricocheted, hit me, hit her. But of course, she didn't hit nobody. It was in the ceiling, and the neighbors, the lady who jumped on my mom's and her kid, they was on the floor crawling, trying to get in their career. They was like, close the door, close. I did see that. They was crawling on the floor like, she's shooting. And then, my mom was like, yeah, see you come down here, get mother, all that crowd. She's like, come on in the house. And I went on in the house, and she closed the door. And then, my mom's opened up the door again, arguing or whatever. Then I seen the lady come downstairs. Like, she came downstairs with her gun. I was like, oh, she got a gun. And then my mom's like, get it out. Then she closed the door. But she didn't shoot or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? She just went back and said, yeah, that's what I thought. You better have to close your mother door and all that nonsense. So this was like, this was around the time when my mom was committing adultery, though. We in the same, apartment complex before we even got evicted. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, this is the reason why we got evicted. Now, it was rumored that my mom was probably, sleeping with her guy. Now, mind you, my mom was committing adultery, with her husband nephew, and had a child by her husband nephew. Yeah, figure it out. But anyway, so rumor, I don't know if this is true or whatever, because my mom's denied. It was said that our neighbor said that she was sleeping with her guy. So that's why that whole thing was about them arguing and fighting and shooting and all this nonsense. So anyway, of course, housing evict us because, my mom did go to jail. She went to jail and only spent 24 hours in there, because this was back in 90, I think 90. I was about 12, 90 or 91. I think I was 13 or something. But this is when New Jack City came out. Because everybody was wearing those shirts. My mother had that shirt on one time, around that time when this had happened. And I'm Gonna Sex You Up was the soundtrack of New Jack City. And that came out. And the lady who she got into it with before they even had that big fight, she was always come down our door and say, I'm gonna F you up, like that. So, being funny and sarcastic. But I do remember it was around that time. So it had to be 91 then. So I was 13. So anyway, we did get evicted because, of course, she was shooting. You know what I'm saying? So my mother was like, okay, look, are you serious? You got drug dealers in here that shoot every day around here. You evicted me. So basically, it was just time for us to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, due to her actions and whatnot. So now that was when I was 13. Now, this one we had moved over to my grandma's house. So when I had moved to my grandma's, it was just me and we all moved over there, but I think my mom's had found her an apartment with the guy she was dealing with, the one who was liking me or whatever. That's when they moved in over there in Inglewood. You know what I'm saying? Over there, 63rd, 64th way. We was over there on 63rd and 64th and Normal. Still Chicago, but yeah, we was over in another rough area. Now, I used to claim that I was GD, which I wasn't, but I used to hang around with GDs because the GDs was in Attaby Wells' home. But when we moved over to Inglewood, was BDs over there, so that's another story. But yeah, so my moms and my little siblings, they went over there. They moved over there first. I was still over there at my grandmother's house. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even move in yet because I guess he didn't want to be bothered with the first two oldest, me and my sister. He didn't want to be bothered, so we didn't move over there right away. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I ended up getting pregnant over there at my grandmother's house. You know what I'm saying? I was running fast. I'm young. I'm like, okay, well, ain't nobody watching me, and I'm doing what I want to do. My sister that's up under me, she snitched a little bit, but she got used to it, so she didn't say nothing much. You know what I'm saying? So I was over there with boys and doing it up. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I ended up getting pregnant at 14 when I was staying in my grandmother's crib. But, of course, I got an abortion and everything. My mother said, no, you ain't finna mess up nothing over here, and all that crap. So then we finally ended up moving over there, and that's when things just got even worse. When we was over there in Inglewood. And I told you about, they said that he was looking up at the door and all this nonsense. But anyway, so when we moved over there, the first day we moved over there, we get into it with the neighbors, you know what I'm saying? But this like basically with the kids is me and my sister. So we at the store, they arguing whatever, you know, BD. And there's two females. There's me and my sister. We going to the store and these dummies all out in the streets on some BD. I'm like, are y'all serious? Like we just moved over here. What are you talking about? Some BD. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, okay, what GD, what? You know what I'm saying? So we gang banging and everything. And my sister's like, nah, stop. So one of them threw a ball at my sister, and I picked the ball up and threw it back at them. And then showing up, right before they even got into it to come at us or whatever, my mother and the dude who she was dealing with came around or whatever and picked us up and picked us up in the car, and we drove back to the Abbey Wells home to drop my friend out. Yeah, my friend was with us back then, so we dropped out. But this little dumb stuff. So anyway, that was like when I was a teenager. I was kind of like confused about a lot of things that was going on in my life because of our living circumstances. A lot of favoritisms and favoritism was with my mom's, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, her guy, I guess say he liked me or whatever. Not to this day, I don't even socialize with this dude or whatever. But even back then, never had no interaction with this dude. It might have been like when I was playing my radio, he might have been like, turn the radio down or something like that, but that was far as it went. And like even when I've gotten older, because she moved in with him in his house, like in my 20s or whatever, I'll go over to the house, whatever, but it was never nothing about, well, is this true? Did you like me? And it was none of that. It was none of that. I didn't have a reason to even bring up that nonsense. And he didn't come to me about it. So even to this day, it's all on my mom's. You know what I'm saying? It's all on. I don't even know if this stuff is true to a degree, but I can say this, and my sister said it too. We was in the car one time. It's like when I was about 16. I think like no. This before I graduated 8th grade, because he used to drop us off to go to school from Inglewood, and we'll still go back down to Lowen on 39. And me and my sister was in the car, and he was looking at us like through the front of rearview mirror. And when I called it, I ain't even say nothing. But it was ironic because my sister said that he did it to her. She was like, man, you know what I'm saying, boy, he looking through the river mirror, he was just staring at me. I said, well, hold on. He was doing that to me too one time, just looking at me and everything. She was like, oh, that's weird. I said, you gonna tell mom? She's like, I ain't saying nothing. She already think you and him doing something. Like, I ain't say nothing. I ain't say nothing to this day. I don't know if my sister might have said something, but I just left it alone or whatever. He never approached me, never approached my sister that I know of, whatever. But that's one thing I can say that I noticed, and she said she noticed it too. So, hey, my mom's and him broke up, you know what I'm saying, and because they had a big lash out. He started dating somebody else, and she got jealous about that nonsense, and so she ended up, he put her out or whatever, but she ended up moving, and it's just dumb. So she ended up getting another place, though, you know what I'm saying? So, and this was like in 2004 or 5 when all that came about with them two. They broke up in 2004 or whatever, But, yeah, so, with the fact that that happened when I was around about 15, my mom's kicked me out the house. So when I got kicked out, I didn't know where to go, what to do. I'm like, damn, I'm kicked out the crib. What's going on? So I'm walking the streets and all that stuff at 15. I'm kicking it with this dude, kicking it with that guy, this girl over here, whatever. It's like just roaming the streets, right? And I go to my pop's crib like 2 in the morning one time. Like, what you doing over there? Man, mom's kicked me out. Oh, yeah, you over there doing this and doing that. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I stay at his house. I'm 15 years old out here in the streets 2, 3 in the morning. When I got kicked out that first day, and I'll never forget, I was like crying and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Ain't none of my life been out here like this. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nowhere to go. I thought I was going to get raped or killed or something like that. And then it's just crazy because it became a habit of me getting kicked out. By the time I was like 17, I didn't even care no more. I got used to being out there on the street. So I ended up gang banging. I ended up starting smoking and drinking at 16. Got pregnant again at 16. Had a miscarriage. And Just buck, didn't even care. I even started my own gang at like I think what 15 or 16. Started my own gang called the Move Out Crew, MOCs. You know, my little brother wanted to be part of it, but I ain't want to be get involved with that. So he was mad about that. You know, and then it was just an ongoing situation when I was staying over there with moms and everything. When I was a teenager, I still went to school and everything, but I had my own little personal thing when I get out of school. Smoke my little weed, kick it with folks in them, the gang bangers, and do my thing. And I'm hanging out, having sex around this time, not caring, you know what I'm saying? But never put my hands on my mom's and never felt to even disrespect her, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, she just, like I said, this was all because she favored my other sisters and them, because this dude, he said he liked me and all this nonsense. So I think it was more like jealousy or whatever, jealous of your own daughter, And yeah, so I'm over here laying up with, I'm up here, I'm homeless, right? And older guys see this, so they're attracted to teenage girls and all this stuff. So yeah, a guy stopped the car and be like, man, you know what I'm saying, what's up, why you out here and all this nonsense? And I be like, man, mom's kicked me out and all this, strangers. And the next thing you know, I'm getting in the car with a dude. I'm like 16, 15. He like 25 or 30 or whatever. Kicking it with him. Ran around all night, getting drunk, getting introduced, buddies and all that, hanging out at his crib. You already know what else. So, you know what I'm saying? And this became a habit. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging out, being wild, being fast, all because my moms didn't want to be bothered with me. Times I tried to go to my pop's crib, he didn't want to be bothered because the lady he was with didn't want to be bothered with me because it reminded her of his ex. So it was just straight drama. So my pops favored us anyway when we was little. He didn't care for me anyway because I was always put some earrings on and straighten up your pants, and why you walk like a dude, and why you and all this nonsense. You ain't never gonna be nothing. You gonna be just like your mom. You gonna have 6, 7, 8 kids and all this nonsense. And Joy gonna be, that's my sister. Joy, she gonna be better than you, and yada yada this and yada. You ain't gonna be nothing. That's all my dad's boy. He was a straight trip. So I caught it from both ends when I was coming up when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like I said, I still stayed in school throughout all that, but I was struggling with being homeless. I was here and there and everywhere. I developed depression, but back then, you didn't go seek no psychiatrist or you didn't get no meds then. There was just something you was going through, but I hid it, you know what I'm saying? I played basketball at school, but that was a joke because I always got drunk and I was hung over at times, didn't feel like staying out the school to play ball or whatever. I started gaining weight, hereditary, my aunties on my daddy's side, they all short, fat, and all that nonsense. So I started gaining weight, didn't care no more. I didn't have no nice gym shoes. The basketball team tried to order gym shoes out the magazine. I'm the only one who walking around with stupid, old, raggedy, nasty, dirty gym shoes. And so I just quit playing. My mom's want to see me. I ain't going to see her play no basketball. She don't like to wear bras. She don't like to comb her hair and all this nonsense. Well, go buy me some then. Go take care of me. I'm only 16? You know what I'm saying? What the heck? You sit back, you talk about me, and you down me, impossible, but they still want to look out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I couldn't get It was just crazy. So when I get deep and start talking about that, I get real emotional. I get mad, but this is a story I'm telling, right? So, yeah, about time I was 17, I was hanging out with my homeboy, you know what I'm saying, Darnell or whatever, and I'll go over his crib for the most time and kick it. I did tell you all about when I went to jail and stuff. I did go to jail and all that crap for selling drugs and hanging out in the Robert Taylors and stuff like that. Now, that was 16 when I started selling drugs. I was selling drugs for this dude named BD. I ain't gonna say his real initials or his real initials, but I was selling, they said the medicine was the medicine. Well, it was medicine. They said the drugs supposed to be B12. I didn't believe it. I didn't know. But some of the crackheads or whatever who I sold this stuff to, they knew me since I was little in the projects from Matabee Wells, right? So they knew my mama and everything. They used to drink beers with my mama. And one came back and told him like, man, kids, what you doing out here? This ain't real. They got you out here selling B12. I didn't know what no B12 was. But then one of them was like, look, check this out, man. We like family. I remember you was little, but you better watch that. You better watch that, 'cause somebody could kill you for this. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah. Then another one came out who I knew since I was little, grown man. You know what I'm saying? He came at me too. He's like, man, what you? This is not, hey, you bogus. You selling me stuff. I'm like, man, that's the second person that said that. Like, yeah, you out here selling bogus stuff. But I got to the point I didn't care no more. I just kept doing it, whatever. Then like maybe 2 weeks later after that, the homies who I was slanging with, they ended up getting jumped on. They got jumped on for serving on somebody else's spot, and I happened to just hear about it. I wasn't there with them. I sold with them. We was buddies. We sell all the stuff. We hang together. But this particular day, I wasn't with them, and they all three got jumped on. And then one of the guys like, yeah, KK, if you'd have been with them, you'd have got moved on too. So I knew it was time for me to hang it up. I just knew God was just constantly watching over me for a reason. That's when I was a teenager. It's just something I felt like. It's just something was telling me that something gonna change in the future. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so like I said, after I went to jail and everything, I came. Got out of jail and I hung with my homeboy, because even when I went back to my pop's crib, it just didn't work out. He was just crazy. So when I hung with my homeboy, you know what I'm saying, I was kicking it with him at his crib. His mom's eventually ended up leaving the crib to him or whatever. It was like a little basement spot. And me and him was kicking it, going to school together, having a nice time. But then, we smoked weed like it wasn't none. We smoked weed, we gang bang, we did all that to the depths. We went out, we was robbing people, and we was just, me and him, we was buck, you know what I'm saying? And then this particular one day though, right, I had another homie with us. I said, yeah, we're going to get this dude for his money, you know what I'm saying? His name was Larry. We're going to get him for his money. Larry was cool, you know what I'm saying, but he was kind of slow, so he used to get a check, and on this particular day, we said we was going to rob him, right? So me and my homeboy down there, we was already intoxicated and drunk and all that, trying to, get up on another lick, because we was broke. And my homeboy Larry was in the basement with us, so my homeboy, me and Darnell was kind of almost like in a relationship, but it wasn't no relationship, but it was like, if I see him talk to a girl, I get jealous. If you see me talk to another dude, he'll get jealous type thing. So we both decided. So I said, look, man, you know what I'm saying? This dude right here, let's hit him up for his dough. You know what I'm saying? Got his check, kind of slow, so let's hit him up, right? So Darnell like, yeah, okay, cool then, man. I said, but look, though, I got to pretend that I'm his girlfriend so he'll fall for the shenanigan. Darnell like, oh, okay, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. Now, we still drinking Mad Dog 2020, getting it in, smoking weed and yada, yada, this. So we both agreed to do it, right? So I'm on the couch kicking it with Larry. And Darnell was in the other room getting jealous. And then, doing my thing, caressing him and everything, trying to, see what's cracking, what's up with this money. I don't care about none of the other stuff. I'm trying to get this money. So Darnell like, yeah, man, let me holler at you for a minute, KK. And I'm like, what's up, man? Hey, what's going on? Hey, look, man, I ain't feeling that, man. I ain't feeling on. I'm like, are you serious, dude? I say, man, I thought we agreed we're gonna do that. I'm just saying, I'm jealous. I'm getting jealous, man. Y'all in my house, and I'm like, man, dude, are you serious? We agreed to do it. Let me get this money, man. Man, I don't even care about that money no more. Y'all gotta go. I was like, what? Now it's like 2 in the morning. You up here talking some, we gotta go because you drunk, and you up here talking some, you got feelings and all this. You ain't your feelings, and you don't want us. I'm like, man, look, I ain't going nowhere. Dude, I'm in the middle trying to get a lick that you agreed to, and you up here telling some, I gotta go because of what we doing, and we agreed to it. So we got into it and everything. Now look, this is what we plotted against this dude. He sent back like, what's wrong with y'all? We like, man, I'm gonna knock her out. I'm like, you ain't gonna do nothing to me. So we both at it. While he's sitting over there chilling. This thing's a trip. So as we argue, right? Now we drunk at the same time. He hit me in my face. I was like, what? So my homeboy Larry got up. He was real tall too. He was like, hey man, what you put your hands on like that for? He was like, man, get out my house. Woo, woo, woo. I was like, oh yeah. So I used to have a box cutter. I had one of them old school long gray box cutters, them little round, little like oval shaped box cutters. So I had that, and I said, dude, that's it. So I started cutting them in his back. I started cutting them up in his back. You know what I'm saying? not caring or whatever. We drunk, I'm fired up, we heated up, So he's like, and then my homeboy Larry like, man, what you doing? So anyway, I was like, man, this dude, there was a lot of cussing going on there. I said, man, this dude, he hit me. You ain't see that? Yeah, I know, but man, they gonna kill him. And I said, I don't care. So I pushed him back, and he was like, Then he hit me again, like, he didn't steal on me, but he tried to muff me. And then he ran in the room. When he ran in the room, I started chasing him in the room. So I started chasing him in the room. And then when I chased him, I pushed him. Then he fell on the bed. And when he fell on the bed, he was on his back with his feet and legs up trying to, push me off. And I'm drunk, heated, don't care. So I got the box cut in my hand, pouring that way, like pouring upwards. So as I'm trying to get him, Larry came in behind me like, man, y'all need to stop that. Woo, woo, woo. So I'm like, man, get up off of me, man. So the box cutter fell on the bed. When the box cutter fell on the bed, I grabbed it. And when I grabbed it, it was pointing that way towards like upwards. So as I'm getting ready to, I don't know what it was, I was trying to do something, but Larry grabbed my hand with his, he grabbed my wrist with one hand, and with the other hand, he pulled the box cutter out of my hand. And when he pulled it, he cut me. I got cut. And I got 14 stitches. I had to get 14 stitches in my hand from my thumb. To this day, I can't feel my thumb. To this day, I cannot feel my thumb because he cut a nerve when he pulled the box cut out. So, yeah, I had a hole in my hand and you could put your whole fist in there, you know what I'm saying? But they stitched it up, But when he cut me, I knew it got cut. And when I opened my hand, it was blood like skeeting out from a little small vein that he had, that little nerve he could skeeting out. I was like, oh, man, you got me, man. You got me. You cut me. And then Darnell was like, oh, thank you. Like, get out of my house. That's all he could say, man, get out of my house. That's what you get and all this. I'm like, oh, man. So Larry went in his pocket. For some reason, he had a pair of extra underwear in his pocket. He had some drawers in his pocket on to this day. I don't know what that was about. But it was like, some bikinis, like drawers. So I took that and wrapped my hand up, and we had to walk to the hospital, which was maybe 7 blocks away or whatever. So yeah, so they sewed my hand up and all that nonsense. Like I said, to this day I can't really feel it from the cut. See, that's how that turned out that night. Yeah. So yeah, the next day 2 days later I ended up going to school. I don't care what I went through, I still had to stay in school. So anyway, I ended up going to school, and when I was in my division class, now my hand is all bandaged up and everything, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in my division class, and the police who worked at the school, but he was still a real police officer, so he knew us. So he knocked on the division door, and then he was like, yeah, I want to talk to, her right there. Kenna's right there. So my teacher's like, yes, Kenna. Everybody like, oh, that's her probation officer. And I don't even know. I didn't even have I was on probation at that time, but I didn't have no officer. I was on supervision. But I'm just saying, I had people be spreading rumors and being nosy. But anyway, he was like, yeah. So as I'm getting ready to go back, like, oh, that's her probation officer. What happened? What's going on? So anyway, as I stepped out, he talked to me. He was like, yeah, what happened between you and Darnell? And I'm like, what? I'm like, what you mean what happened between us? Whatever happened, it ain't got nothing to do with school. He was like, no, I don't. But he came to school the next day bloody. I was like, what? Yeah, he came to school yesterday with his shirt all bloody up, and he was cut up. And he said that you did it. And now look, I'm on probation at this time, though, and Darnell knew I was on probation from when I was selling drugs, right? And I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, look, man, look at my hand. I said, look, man, that was self-defense. And my hand is bandaged up. He said, look, I don't care what happened between you and him, but look, though, he did say he didn't want to press charges, so I'm not going to lock you up. I was like, whoo. He said, if he'd have pressed charges, you would have been on your way to jail. I was like, oh, man. I was like, okay, cool then. I felt my heart on my tongue. So I was like, all right, and I went back in class. But see, the thing is this. If I hadn't went back to jail, the judge told me I was doing 1 to 3 years in the white penitentiary, the female penitentiary, which is now closed. It's no longer there. But she told me, she said, man, you come back in here, you doing 1 to 3 at the white. with the white the white women's facility. And I'm like, man, why is this lady so mad at me? But it's because I was on the warrant for a whole year. But anyway, I do remember that, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I go back to jail, they ain't gonna play with me. I ain't trying to do no 3 years, no 1 or 3 years in no penitentiary. But this dude knew I was on probation, so I was like, man, he didn't even press charges. That was kind of weird. But, you know, hey, but we fell out, so I didn't, and then like I went to her and said, man, thank you, and we just fell out. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying, that was the crazy lifestyle I was living when I was a teenager. I did graduate at 19, and, you know, that's when I I was all over the place then, you know what I'm saying. I did graduate at 19, and I did have permission to go to this college called East West University, which was downtown Chicago. I went there for a month and dropped out. It was just too much. The work I was getting, I was failing. We go to school, and then every week we getting a test. I'm like, what is this all about? We just started school today. Tomorrow we got a test. I was like, look, it was just too many tests and not enough time to study. So I just dropped out. And then I ended up working at a car wash, where I ended up meeting a couple of guys who hooked me up with this abandoned apartment over here, abandoned building on 69th and Calumet. And I ended up staying over there. He introduced me to somebody who was staying there. It was 2 guys that was staying there watching the building. They'll rehab the buildings and homes and stuff like that, and then they have somebody to house sit them so nobody won't break in and take appliances and stuff like that. So I ended up getting introduced because I had nowhere to go when I got off work. So one of the guys hooked me up with a dude, said, man, you know, yeah, she cool people, let us stay here, you know what I'm saying, she's going to look out for you, which I did. When I got that, game like $20, and he was a crackhead, of course, so I gave him $20, go do his thing or whatever, just let me sleep, right? So I had about like $80, $90 in my pocket. I was going to go and do my thing in the morning, go to the show, have some fun, do me, right? So anyway, I'm laying there, you know, I had my wallet in my pocket. And, you know, I'm just knocked as I was exhausted. I just wanted some sleep. So the next morning, I'm stretching, I'm getting up. So I found my wallet wide open on the floor. As soon as I wake up, that's the first thing I see, my wallet that I had in my pocket on the floor, wide open. I was like, come on, man. And sure enough, all my money was gone. And the dude was gone. I was like, this is not happening. Nowhere to go, and just looked out for this dude, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know him, and he could have killed me anything, to be honest with you, but he did, just took my money. So I say, oh yeah? I said, okay, cool then. You just, what I said? I said, I just paid rent. I just bought this place. That's what I said. And I said, whenever he come back, I'm telling you, I know he gonna probably try to come back. You know, I knew he gonna try to come back like maybe a couple days later, you know, thinking I probably been and left. Not at all. And that happened like in October. Because I was like, you know, that's when I had just stopped going to school. I started school in September and I stopped in October. I couldn't do it. So that was like right before the winter hit. And yeah, of course, like maybe like 2 weeks later, to be honest, 2 weeks later, this dude came back. Like when nothing happened, I was still there. He didn't even know I was there. He come up there and I had a knife. I had a butcher knife. And I say, yeah, so what's up? He was like, I said, yeah, so you took my money, or you gonna pay me? Because I ain't going nowhere till you give me my money back. Like, I ain't got your money, I ain't take your money. I said, dude, I'm not playing these games with you. Give me my money, or you can make a bow face, because I just paid rent up in here, dude. I ain't going nowhere. Sure enough, he was going back, I ain't got it. I said, well, what you want to do? You either gonna get stabbed. And I see, at this point, I mentally didn't care no more. I was ready to be honest with you, I was ready to kill. I was ready to kill because I got tired of being treated the way I was being treated. So not only was I a woman, but I was becoming more aggressive because I was in defensive mode at this point in my life. I didn't care no more. I didn't care. I was to the point where I'm finna just kill to survive now. You do me, I'm finna seek revenge. This is how this going. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna be covering up my hand and boo-hooing. Not because I'm out here. This is the lifestyle that I have to live. So I have to kill in order to live. This is my thinking then. So I told him, either you gonna make a bow face, get the heck out of here, don't come back no more, or either you can get stabbed, because I'm not finna keep arguing about you, or you can give me my money and I can go. So he chose not to give me my money, and he chose not to argue, and so he just left. And I held that place down for about 6 months. So the other guy that was in there, he ended up eventually leaving on his own or whatever. So I ended up staying in this abandoned building for a whole winter, like maybe like 3 months. I could have died in there. It was so cold in there. I was blowing smoke out my mouth. And he was a crackhead, and the other dude who left, he was a crackhead too, right? So a lot of people didn't even know that he wasn't there no more. It was just me. So in the middle of the night, all you hear is boom, boom, boom. People beating and bamming on the door downstairs. I'm upstairs in the little attic part. That's where I was sleeping at. The whole building was boarded up. You know what I'm saying? But the back door, it wasn't boarded up, but it was like, you could tell it was a brand new door or whatever. But that's where the crackheads used to always come in the back. And in order for them to hear upstairs, they had the people down there that beat real loud so they could hear it upstairs. And that's what was scaring me. I'd be asleep, and all I hear is boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my! And I heard that for like maybe 2 months straight. And I like, look, stop beating on this door. Whoever y'all looking for, he ain't here no more. I put him out. I'm running this now. You know what I'm saying? I had to kind of be like aggressive. And I said, no, he's not here anymore. Nah. I had to go out and be like, look, stop beating on this door. You know what I'm saying? He ain't here no more. I'm taking over this spot now. Whoa. Then, and as I come off like that, the crackheads be like, you got some? You got some? Like, am I selling? And I was like, I'm out. I'm all out. Get away from the door. And then they'll just leave. And then eventually, you know, they stop. They'll stop coming back. They realize they weren't there. You know what I'm saying? And they realize I wasn't selling nothing all of a sudden. So it ended up stopping. But before it did, though, you know what I'm saying, with all that beating and bamming in the middle of the night, I'm cold, I'm nervous a little bit, I developed bleeding ulcers. You know what I'm saying? And I bled like straight for 30 days. And it's like, are you serious right now? So, you know, I used the washroom. Of course, the washrooms weren't working because it was a abandoned building, wasn't no water running in there, you know. It was water. That's what kept me alive. I was drinking water. It was water running in the faucet. Yes, it was. The toilets weren't flushing, rather. And there wasn't no heat. But the electricity was running and water was running. And thank God for the electricity, because I ended up getting up with some guy who took me way out to where they got trailer parks at, and got up with him, and whatever. And he ended up giving me a heater. So I ended up taking a heater from him, and then I ended up coming back to the place, and like this like in January though. I was there like from October, and it took for me to get a heater, and this is almost about to warm up a couple more months. But anyway, I got a heater, and that kept warm in January all out to, like, you know what I'm saying, early spring. But yeah, I was in there freezing. I had lost a lot of weight because I wasn't eating. I was hungry, and I was scared to leave because I was afraid that they was going to board the place back up, and I wasn't going to have nowhere to lay my head. That's the main reason why I was skeptical on leaving the place. I wanted to leave, but I was scared to not be able to come back. So I stayed in this place like straight for 3 months, not going nowhere. But when it started warming up, that's when I started going to get some food stamps and all this stuff and get my man right. I lost a lot of weight. I walked to my mom's crib from 69th to Calumet to 91st and Cottage Grove. She thought I was on drugs. She thought I had AIDS and all that because I had lost so much weight. Yeah, this is my mom. Yeah, she that's how she used to think. Not, are you okay? I know I haven't heard from you in a minute, you know, but man, you sure lost a lot of weight. You need to go to the doctor. So anyway, yeah, I survived that by the grace of God. I'm like, something going on if I survive that. So yeah, even later on or whatever, you know what I'm saying. Prior to all that though, y'all, you know, I was even in the projects called Robert Taylor Homes. I was in right before I graduated. I was sleeping in an abandoned building on the 16th floor in Robert Taylor's, and this is around the part. I don't know if you all know about this, but back in 1997 or 96, I think it was 97 or something, about Girl X. That's when she was found in Cabrini Greens. I think it was Cabrini Greens. Some guy had, I think Girl X was like maybe like 12 or something, 12 or 13 years old or something like that. And this dude found her by herself in the building, and he took her in an abandoned apartment and he raped her and then gave her Drano and all this nonsense and left her disabled for the rest of her life. Left her blind. She couldn't talk or none of that. And I think she was like 14 or something, like 13 or 14 at the time when he raped her. Now, when that had happened, it was very, very sad. But they did catch him. He did go to jail. But when I was standing in this abandoned apartment in the other projects, I used to have my headphones on and listen to my little music or whatever. And on the radio, the commercial event would be about girl X, what had happened to her in the Cabrini Green. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm literally in an abandoned apartment. It's like 12 at night, and I'm by myself, and I'm hearing this come across my ear at night, and I'm like paranoid. And so I got to the point, every time that come on, get ready to come on, I just shut it off. I just shut it off and just play another tune on the station or something, because I was getting paranoid at that time when I was in an abandoned apartment. So that was another event I would never forget, not to look over the fact what happened to girl X, but this is just another event that I had experienced when I was in another abandoned apartment. So yeah, I did a lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of abandoned apartments, street corners, and bus stops. Yeah, that's why I slept at. Slept on in the corner somewhere and slept on bus stops. One time I was in Atlanta and I was sleeping. I heard something crawling. I'm like, what the hell? It was a big old rat. I looked up and shot off. Like, you know what? I know. Let's go. But anyway, so yeah, after all that, you know what I'm saying, I ended up, started house sitting, because the landlord, the owner who had that house on 69, he ended up realizing that the guys weren't there no more, and I ended up taking over, and he ended up, hiring me to do other buildings, house sitting buildings. So I started doing other buildings, sitting in the houses and stuff like that. Of course, I ended up having a gun in my possession. It's a long story, I'm not going to get off into how I got it, but I ended up having a gun. And I took it with me at one of these houses over here. And of course I was responsible with it, but it was a point where I felt I almost had to use it, but it didn't happen. But anyway, so I was at one particular building or a house that I was at, and I ended up getting into it with some people over there because I was stupid enough to have an open house party with people on the block, knowing that, this is just ridiculous. I'm being paid to hold the place down, yet I'm inviting everybody on the block to come in. So, yeah, but with this pistol one day, I ended up going to one of these gangbangers' house, kicking it with them, because I knew one of their homies. So he let me go there. Back then, I don't know if they do that now, but back then, whoever had a gun on them, you have to respect the owner house and let them know. Now, this is gangbanging lesson. This is gangbanging talking. So if you go into one of the gangbangers' homes, Vice Lord, folks, BD, whoever, you have to let them know you got a gun. You got to give it to the owner of the house, or, the man or woman of the house. And then when you get ready to leave, they give it back to you. So that's how that go. That's just the rule there. You know what I'm saying? You can't have no gun on you. Well, this is back then. Like I said, please. But back then, that was just what you do. So, and I done it a couple of times with this particular householder. You know what I'm saying? I did that. You know what I'm saying? But it was one time I did it. They didn't give it back. Yeah, so I gave him the gun. It was a 9mm Smith & West, you know what I'm saying. I gave it to him, and he left. I'm like, okay, well, where's such and such? I'm ready to go. Oh, yeah, he left somewhere. I don't know. He came back sweating and running and out of breath. I was like, oh, here we go. What, man? Where's my gun at? Oh, man. The police was chasing me, and I threw it. And I was like, okay, so that was the end. And I'm going to cut that short because we already know what it was. He took my gun. He stole my gun. He came up with some plan out there. So, and I told whoever gave it to me from the beginning, I said, yeah, he said, man, be careful with the gun. So I said, you know what? I'd rather for somebody to take it from me than the police. And sure enough, I spoke it up. Thank God that I didn't get shot with it. Thank God I didn't get robbed to get it. He just snuffed it off, and I said, you know what? That's it. I was pissed off too, because it had helped me a lot throughout them times. But it was just meant for me to give it up and walk the right way. I think I was like 20 at this time or something like that. Yeah, it was a year later. It was like 98, the year after I graduated. So, yeah, then that's when I got, I started going downtown in Chicago. That's when I got introduced to selling streetwise. Right before I was selling streetwise, I was panhandling. I was homeless and panhandling. I got introduced with going down a Lower Wacker Drive to sleep down there with the homeless. I did that one time. I said that was the last time I was going to do that. I didn't like that at all, sleeping down in the viaduct way downtown with the other homeless people. I did it one time. I said never again. I'd rather sleep by myself on a train somewhere than go through all that with them. Ew. So I'm out here panhandling. That's how I was making my money. I was begging. And downtown, you get your money on, you know what I'm saying? Every night, I'm coming off like maybe like $50 to $60, $70, you know what I'm saying, in change or whatnot, dollars or whatever. But, you know, you always go to jail. You always getting tickets. I got tired of that, too. But anyway, one particular time I was hustling out there. I was panhandling with this dude. He was selling streetwise. And he was always like, why don't you go get you some streetwise? I said, I ain't finna sell no streetwise. That looks stupid. He said, well, what you think looks, how you look with just bagging? I said, yeah, okay, whatever. So, and he let me bag on the spot where he was selling his papers at because he was making his money on top anyway. He had regular customers. But anyway, we was cool. So I was bagging, he selling his papers. And this one particular dude came around there trying to bag. So it's three of us on one spot, right? So the dude with the papers like, here we go. Now the spot finna get blowed up. When the spot get blowed up, can't nobody, you know, do what they do. So anyway, I'm out here bagging. Dude selling his papers. Another dude come and see both of us doing our thing. He coming up there, I'm finna give me some money too. So anyway, we both out here begging. And one of the customers come up like, I was like, yeah, maybe on the way out, sir. He was like, okay. Then the other dude like, yeah, me too. He was like, you know what? All right, okay, whatever. So as dude go in the store, he come back. I was like, thank you. Then he's like, oh, I want some change. Like, you know, I ain't getting neither one of y'all nothing. I was like, what? I said, but you said you was gonna look out for me. Nah, he just messed it up. I'm like, what? I'm like, F you then. But I look at the other dude and I was like, are you serious? Why is you over here? Do you see him over here hustling? Man, what's wrong with you? Man, F you. I'll knock you. I'm like, here we go again when I'm gonna knock you out and all this. And man, come on, man. So anyway, when he said that he doing my head like this, so I'm gonna knock you out. And when he did that, he did it, and I came with a right. Bow. Now, it's like 20 degrees out. Now it's probably colder than that. And my hands, I have dermatitis on. I have dermatitis on my hands when it's real cold. When it's real cold every season, every winter, my hands, you know, break out like it be dry looking or whatever. Every winter, and as soon as it warm up, it go away. But this come from when I just wash my hands out on oil or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And back then, even in the wintertime, I never had gloves on, and I washed my hands in hot water, bleach and all that stuff. So every winter, my hands just get like rough looking. So when he hit me, boom! I just came. When he just went like that, and I just came reflecting. I hit him in his mouth. And he started bleeding, but I didn't even know I hit him that hard though, because it was so cold outside and my hands was so numb. And I looked, and he was bleeding. And he looked, and he did like that, and he started laughing. And I didn't see nothing funny, but I was kind of shocked. Like, there, I hit this dude, and I bust him in his mouth. And then when I hit him, you know, I pulled a knife. I said, no, come on, because I didn't know what he was going to try to do, jump me or whatever. So when I hit him, and I realized he was like, man, bleeding or whatever, and I had pulled out a knife. Like, man, come on, you're going to catch this across your neck. So what I'm saying is, I had to live this type of lifestyle because I'm a female, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I was going through, being on the streets trying to survive. You know, so that was that little story right there. I seen him again later on, like, years later. I seen that same dude. He seen me. We ain't say nothing or whatever. It was just eye to eye, whatever, you know. But yeah, that was that incident. So I eventually ended up getting some streetwise paper. As a matter of fact, after that incident, I went and got me some papers and started being legit about selling papers on the spot. And that was that, you know. So didn't nobody go to jail, nothing like that. I was just totally angry and pissed off about not getting a little change that I needed. And prior to that, to be honest, like maybe the night prior to that, I got robbed again from one of my homeboys. He let him and his girl let me stay at their house. They was crackheads again. And you know, I don't know what it was. I tracked crackheads, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I needed somewhere to stay this night, and him and his lady let me stay with them, and I gave them some money. I always do this. I gave him some money, and when this girl, they do their thing, they up all night smoking crack or whatever, and I'm laying on the couch sleep. And of course, I wake up once again. My money gone out my wallet. I was like, you know what? This is the last time. This is the last time it's going to happen. And this is the night prior to me and the dude getting into it on the spot, selling streetwise or whatever. So I woke up. I said, look, man, come on, man. Such and such, get my money. Him and his girl, they both looked up at me and was like, turn around and go to sleep. I was like, what? So I was pissed off. I went in there, took my little wash up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Went downstairs, and when I went outside, I found me a liter or a fifth of gin bottle. It was an empty fifth of gin bottle. And I took it, and it was cold outside too. I took that bottle and bust their windows, and it was like a little tap because it was so cold outside. I took it, and it was like a little tap. Boom! The windstorm pane came down, and I took off running, and I went downtown. That's how I ended up staying downtown, hustling and selling my papers. So that's what that was. But yeah, you know, so I had some little stupid rough moments and stuff like that. I ended up skipping. I'm gonna skip some parts right here because this is like when I'm like almost 30 or whatever. 2005, I decided to become lesbian. I just said, you know what, the heck with guys, I'm tired of. I ain't trying to catch no STDs. I ain't trying to have no more babies. And I had my son in 2000. I said, I ain't doing all that. And I'm rougher than the guys. It don't look right no more. I'm not really feeling them anyway. So I end up, you know, taking the road down, you know what I'm saying, Rainbow Lane, you know. So I had my little moments or whatever. I'm going to just say this, you know, it's a sin to be living that lifestyle. I'm no longer that way, but I did have some lifetime going on when I was that way. I was that way 5 years. From 2005 to 2010, I was living that lifestyle. I had fun at the time. I ain't going to lie. I had fun. I had females all over the place. I was doing my thing. Had someone that lived with me, you know, and did things. We was about to go get married, go Iowa and all this nonsense. But like I said, after I went to Atlanta, you know, things changed. When I got back, I wasn't about none of that lifestyle no more, you know what I'm saying? Today, yeah, I am celibate. Yes, I am celibate. I've been celibate since 2010, you know, or 2011. I'm going to say 2011. 2010 was the last time I was with someone. 2011 on out to this day, I want dating no one, you know what I'm saying? And from 2011, you know what I'm saying, to like maybe 2017 or something like that, was like I wanted to date, you know what I'm saying, but I wanted to date, but I couldn't because I wasn't financially situated, and my housing and all that. I'm here boarding rooms and all this nonsense. I didn't want to be having no girlfriend, all that nonsense up in there. So, you know, I wanted to, but I just didn't because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, my livelihood and the finances weren't there. You know, when I was dating, I was the one that was providing. I was the one that was picking and choose. Let's go to this club. Let's go here. And, you know, I was the one that was taking care of the girls or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's what I did. But and I didn't want to be in a situation where I couldn't do none of those things and then trying to date somebody. You know, that didn't make sense. And I was a stud. I called myself a stud back then, so I'm not going to have no film taking care of me. That's just how I was. But thank God that it did turn out that way, because I can now count days as being celibate. You know, I ain't really, you know, in the mood for all that no more. And today is out anyway, you know, so I'm definitely not trying to look to that lifestyle again. It's a sin, and, you know, it's going backwards in life, you know what I'm saying? I feel good right now. Most people don't think it could ever happen by being celibate, but when you live it for God, you know the consequences. If you decide to do what you want to do for fleshly desires, you ain't gonna have no choice but to do the right thing, right? So, you know, that's why I choose to do what I'm doing for God. But yeah, I had my days and my moments coming up, you know what I'm saying? I threw this exclusiveness in because I left it out on the first video for a reason. So this one right here is just exclusive. There's a lot of other things I might have forgot, but I tried my best to come with this one. It's almost an hour up in this video. So yeah, you know, I had my moments and stuff like that, you know. I don't want to get too explicit about my lifestyle, but yeah, I did have my moments and stuff like that, you know. Had a lot of fights coming up, robbed a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? I was having bad moments financially, took the dude from up north, you know what I'm saying? He was being friendly. So I was to the point when back then I was by myself, I'd be friendly with people. I used to get drunk, have fun, and kick. We go to the gay clubs, or we'll go to the club, the Jamaican clubs and stuff like that, and I'll run into random people. And one of the guys I ran into, he had a lot of money on him, but he wanted to stay outside and get drunk all night. I was like, look here, I'm getting sleep. I'm finna take this dude for his mouth. Bing! Hit him right in his mouth. Hit him right in his jaw. Bing, bing, bing. Looking both ways in the alley. I took like $45. The man had like maybe $45 on. I took that. That was a Friday night when I robbed him. I took that little funky little change and held on that all the way to that Monday to get me a room. Because on the weekends, the rooms is like $10 to $15 extra. So I literally had the money in my pocket all the way to Monday to add on a little hustling money that I was doing for the weekend. And Monday I get my room for $65. And I felt bad about that, because even before, when I was robbing, before then, I said I told God I didn't want to do that no more. But this particular point, I was like, pow, I need a roof over my head, you know what I'm saying? You ain't finna do nothing with this money. You up here sitting around here getting drunk and want to sleep in the alley. I said, well, you don't deserve it. Bing! And I took this money and I went and got me a room that Monday. So, yeah, and that was like 2012. Yeah, that was 2012 when I had came back. So, Lord, I did ask for forgiveness or whatever, because that was still old behavior from when life was like before I even got back on my feet. Well, before I got on my feet in the early 2000s. So, that's the reason why I made that video about me thinking I was going to be back homeless. And I'm like, look, and this before I had to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. When I made that video, I really thought that I was going to be back out there on those streets and go back into the old lifestyle that I used to be when I was in need like that. But right now, even if I was to be in a circumstance where I felt I was going to live, that can't come back in my mind no more, because I received the Ruach HaKodesh. Once you receive the Holy Spirit, you don't neither think like that no more. You don't think like that no more at all. That is out. And how dare you start to think about that once you receive the Ruach HaKodesh. So when I did that video at that time, I couldn't have received it, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That was because I really felt I was going to be in a bad situation. I thought I was going to be a very bad person back to what I used to be. I think I've actually received the Holy Spirit after my cleansing from my sins, when I did all my repenting and conversion and stuff like that, when I had to go through what I had to go through. I think that's when I actually received the mental powers and the conscience from the Holy Spirit to do the right thing from that point on. Because like I said, even when I was at Burger King last year, I was teaching the word and preaching the word to these workers there, and they was listening. It was just a great feeling in the air, it was like the Holy Spirit was all in the place. But yet I was still on and off with what my sins were, you know what I'm saying? So, but hey, look, let's just continue to ask God to lead and guide us. Continue to repent when we sin, even when we think about sinning. Just repent. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus was telling a guy or a person, repent 7 times, rebuke him and forgive him. You know what I'm saying? If he say, man, I apologize, forgive me, forgive him. Now, if he don't, then rebuke him. And just like, even today I may use profanity at times, and every time God, please forgive me, give me the strength every time. So if we could do that with Yahweh, we could ask Yahweh 1,000,000 times throughout the day to forgive us when we slip up, then we should do the same thing for man, So, yeah, I hope I didn't leave out there and be like, man, yeah, I forgot to tell him this, because if it is, then oh well, you know what I'm saying? This is my last video on my story, until things do change and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So, God bless y'all. This is Keziah Harkadashi. Thanks for listening to my life, my story. And I really do thank God for a big major change in my life from all the nonsense I've been through from my growing ups and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. My story part 2, that's what it is. Love y'all. Peace.